The paratext around this new album, Moisturizer by Wheeeet Leeeehg, or as I like to call them, Wheeeet Leeeehg. It's very confusing. Paratext is, everything that is around a piece of art. So it can be like the cover, the title, prefatory material, that kind of stuff. So the paratext here, if we just go with like the name of the album and the cover, I mean, already the cover, it seems like it's a parody or a satire of the movie series Smile. You have a young woman in kind of a nondescript, somewhat unpleasant room, making a almost unreal rictus smile, into the camera. Yeah, you have the other one with her hands around her back, kind of like not really sure what's real, what's not. If you flip the album over on the other side, there's kind of a horror monster there. So it seems like this is going to be a horrific album about some kind of boogeyman or some kind of demonic force. And then the title, Moisturizer. Now, listen, I love moisturizing. It's like one of my favorite things. I just discovered it, I don't know, like 10 years ago, and I try to be an advocate for other men to just moisturize. It's not a sign of weakness. It just especially if you live in a somewhat cold climate, it's really great. So I thought maybe it'd be about that, like the refreshing properties of moisturizing, or of course, moisturizing is a part of the beauty complex, your creams and ointments and uncture complex that convinces women to just spend a lot of money on time on things that don't fundamentally help them, except sort of on a superficial way. So I thought, maybe that's what the album's going to be about. And then I listened to it, and then I realized after studying it more, no, it's not even called Moisturizer because of that. It's a homophone joke. That's where the same sounds are made by different words, right? So there's it's moisture eyes is like the eyes have moisture. I think that's what it is, because there's a song later called Liquid Eyes, and there's sort of a play on it being like liquid eyes. So I don't know. This is Wheeeet Leeeehg. So maybe there's a lot of stuff. It's not like me to fall head over heels. I melt for you. I liquidize. I want you to want me all the time. That's from the song Liquid Eyes, which is sort of an unofficial title track because of this kind of play on words. And listen, I'm not going to talk about all different forms of moisture. I'm not going to talk about all kinds of wetness, but there's a lot. There's a lot of meaning to things when they are wet. It's actually raining. That's why I'm recording in the basement down here, because you don't want to hear the sound of the rain on the roof the whole time. Maybe you do. Maybe it's nicer than my weird little guest room weirdness down here. But wetness is associated with kind of a vitality, vigor, and I know there's a sexual component to what I'm saying. I'm neither saying it nor not saying it. I don't really think that's like the point, but I do think the female sexual excitation, as indicated by moisture, is probably not an unintentional aspect of this title. But where am I going here? I'm not going to be talking about that the whole time. Where I'm going is this is like actually not... It all sort of makes sense, because it may not be as confusing as I think, because it is actually a unified album. This is... like, of all the post-punk albums that I've covered in the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. How long have I been doing this channel? 7 years. Almost 7 years. This is like maybe the closest to a concept album, to a theme album. It's just the concept is not something far out and fantastical. It's not about like a mystical race of bird people who are at war with the robins, and then in the last act you realize that the robins were the good guys the whole time. I mean, the robins were the bad guys the whole time, and the worms are the real heroes. Okay, you could take that, by the way. Any band you want to make a rock opera out of that, I just give that to you. I am literally looking out my window and seeing robins eating some worms right now. But it's a unified album, and I think what we could call this album is Puppy Love. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who realized this morning that my understanding of what puppy love actually means was a little bit off. This happens quite often where you have definitions and then you have common usage. So I've never used the term puppy love in the way that its technical definition is, which is really tied into love, the feelings of love as experienced by a physically immature person, so, a teenager or a child. That's the idea. I've used it my whole life, and it has this as a sort of secondary definition or a connected definition. And also there's going to be the air conditioner is going to be going down here too. I don't know. Maybe it would be better upstairs in the rain, but here we are. So the way I've always used puppy love is it's that phase of a relationship, and sometimes it never goes past that, but sometimes it does. That phase of a relationship where you have that first flush of excited love. It's like, I don't do drugs, so maybe this is why people do drugs, because I imagine it must be really exciting to have your brain chemistry altered in such a pleasant way. The period of infatuation, adoration. It feels very physical. It feels like hormonal insanity. And don't you dare think I'm referring to hormones as a thing that only women possess. Men get hormonal insanity as well, especially in these phases of first love. It's like a dream, but you don't want to wake up. I'm sorry, that's one of the lyrics from the album. But that's how you feel. Like it is, and this whole album is just about that. So I don't know. Ryan. Hey, Anglosphere post-punk artists, try not to have names with IAN that I don't know how to pronounce. Okay? I don't know if she's dating someone new based on what I'm listening to here. It's unclear if this love is like heterosexual or homosexual. I don't think it really matters, but it's a great illustration, and the great illustration of the unbelievable drunkenness, the crazy in love feeling that one gets in the beginning of a relationship. Why would it be a horror movie too? Well, that's what's interesting. Is I did listen to one interview where she said that she doesn't like singing about love. Okay, I think it was Apple Music. All right, that would. I'm thinking about clips. That'd be like if Pusha T was like, I really don't like rapping about selling cocaine. I do personally. I find it distasteful. It's like, that's all, that's not all you do. That's a lot of what you do. That's what you're very famous for thematically. To say that you don't love singing about love when this whole album is just lovey, lovey, love, 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 loving you. What makes it interesting is that pulls through. That's the fun of it. All right? Like it's the fun of it that you can feel underneath this puppy love a cynicism that is being suppressed, a cynicism that has been covered with wood chips so as to deprive it of light so it cannot grow, right? Like the cynicism it wants to poke out. It wants to say, love is crap and I could just be alone and I'm okay and I'm all fine. But this love is so strong, it defeats that cynicism. And hey, I love it. Why not? We need more songs. There's a lot of love songs. There's a lot of cynical love sucks songs. But to have someone who thinks that love sucks singing a love song, and why not have an entire album of it, that's pretty good. I do have a sentimental attachment to it because I'm a little over 7 years ago, before I started this channel, that was when I was in puppy love with my now wife, and I remember that period of time, 2018, that spring of 2018, as just like one of the best times of my life. And the thing was, we're both smart people. We both have doctorates. We knew what it was. We knew that the way that we were thinking and behaving was going to change over time. But that's what's beautiful about it, is that moment, and I think in a good relationship, can help to, if it's a long-term relationship, it's not a high that you chase. It's like a base of adoration, a base of infatuation, upon which you can build and have more mature things, like, yesterday getting into a fight about cleaning up after having some friends over, but wasn't really a fight about that, but it was sort of a fight about something else, and it was kind of unpleasant, and it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even a fight. It's like, it's fine. Life's tough. Our dog got attacked by another dog just walking down the street yesterday. I had to spend like 3 hours in the emergency vet room. This is like, the puppy love stories isn't filled with that. The puppy loves is like, remember when we went to that restaurant for the first time? Right? So I don't know. To me, I feel, even though this album is about puppy love, because I sort of trust this artist. Like, I don't think I trust uncynical puppy love, if that makes sense. You have to be aware that it's happening. You have to know that it's not the truth. But you can also know it is part of the truth. Let me just raise that up there. I don't really know how to record down here. I don't know. My wife actually bought me this shirt. She says it looks nice. I think I look like the salmon that we ate yesterday at that nice little dinner party we had. The other thing about puppy love, and this is a thing I talk about a fair amount, is we're terrible. We're terrible. We are terrible to bands, to new bands, especially, no offense to my British friends, but you're terrible. You are terrible. Stop falling in love with new bands, hyping up their first album, talking about how new and fascinating and completely revolutionary they are, when usually they're not that revolutionary. They're just a good fucking band. And instead of just letting them be a good fucking band, you put all of your hopes and aspirations and love and dreams of musical empire stretching back through the Smiths and the Beatles and all that, and you're just like, this is the next thing, this is gonna be Glastonbury and NME, I almost said NWA, NME and Melody Maker, and it's good, everyone's gonna be talking about it, you're gonna be a toast to London. Because you know what happens every single time with these bands? The second album comes out like, yo, wasn't the best though, was it? Worst accent ever. You know, like, it's fine. First album better, isn't it? Right? That's what happens every single time. Every time one of these British bands comes out, the hype gets so big. Everyone's hopes gets put into them that they're going to be the next Stone Roses. They're going to be the next Oasis, that they're never allowed to actually become the next Stone Roses or the next Oasis. So Wet Leg is a fascinating example because they won the Mercury Prize or whatever it is. They won the British Music Awards. They win all that stuff. They win everything. They become like the media darling. They are like the next big thing. And then they don't release something, they go on tour, and then, oh, wait, what's the last dinner party? Oh, it's a different female-led rock band? Okay, they're the greatest thing ever. They're the most wonderful, greatest thing ever there's ever been in the entire universe, and we're so happy to have this wonderful, awesome, super great, number one great band forever. And then they don't care about Wet Leg anymore, you know? As consumers, we're like, it's like we need to be more like yogurt eaters as consumers. Yogurt is the best example because when you take the first bite of yogurt, you know, from a little tin, from a little cup, you're just as happy as you can be. It's full. It's at the sides of your mouth. All the flavor is there. You are just you are in a state of abundance. And as it goes on, you become aware that you're getting close to the bottom of the little pot there. And then at the end, you are like a fiend. You are scraping, just trying to get the last little bits. And instead of it filling up the side of your mouth, it's just a little tip of the tongue, but you just got to get every single little bit of yogurt out of that container. Nobody takes 3 bites of yogurt and then just throws it in the trash. That's what's amazing. We need to be like that with music. We need to understand that not every bite is going to be the first bite. Not every album that comes out by a band is going to be their first album. So anyways, this album, still produced by the same person who produced their first album, Dan Carey. Did I even tell you that I bought Wet Leg on vinyl? I did. Who also produced this album, Cowards by Squid, another band, another great album that came out this year. Everyone's like, I don't know. You know, the first album was easier for me to like because it was the first time, and it was that puppy love. You know, so Dan Carey's great. You know, K Tempest, Fontaine's DC, just great. He's a great producer. It is true that this album does not have the rawness of their first album. Yeah, no kidding. London Calling didn't have the rawness of the first Clash album. What are you gonna do? No, this isn't London Calling. Hold your horses. But, you know, this is an actual band, and it's natural. It's natural because it was just 2 women who worked together. They now have a full band. They're figuring out their sound. They're adding a little bit more kind of shoegazy sound here. Like, it's less raw, but it's also maybe a little bit more My Bloody Valentine's-ish. They're still very kind of Breeders-y with just sort of straightforward rock and roll sung by women. And this is my theory. 3 years ago, we had Puppy Love with Wet Leg. We heard the first album and the chaise longue and all that. Right now, we got to put a ring on it. Okay? We've got to marry Wet Leg. We need to say, you know what? This is a great band. They have an interesting story. They have at least one classic album. I'm not sure this actual album is like a super classic, but it is a super solid, fun to listen to, well made, well constructed, filled with hooks and purpose and thought album. It is a great concept album on Puppy Love. So instead of really focusing on the ways that it's not the first album, why don't we just appreciate what a second album is just as much as I'm going to appreciate going to the farmer's market in like 20 minutes with my wife. You know what I'm saying? All right. I'm going to go through the album pretty quickly. CPR, there's not like that much to say, I don't think, about this album other than what I've said. CPR is a great riff, this hi-hat opening on the eighth, nice drumming here, kind of spoken verse. Is it love or suicide? The cynical nature of this Puppy Love album is very clear right off the bat here. Very fun and charismatic. Call 999, gave me CPR. I guess 999 is how you say 911 in English. I didn't know that. What's your emergency? And she's just silly and fun. She's having a little like Robert Plant orgasm here, you know. I'm in love. She has an auditory orgasm on saying she's in love, and this is someone who doesn't like love. It doesn't like talking about it. It's the beginning of the album, you cynical pricks. It's great. That's what the album's about. I'll tell you what, you hear her say, I'm in love, and you don't like it. Vaya con Dios, whoever that guy is. You go with that guy, all right? All right. The next song is called Liquid Eyes. Very kind of Breeders-y, buzzing style melody. Also maybe a little Nirvana-ish. I famously saw Breeders open up for Nirvana during their last tour, and Breeders were way better than Nirvana. It was an off night, I guess. So many creatures in the world. How could I be your one? How could I get so lucky? That's what it is. You know, that's maybe the best thing about love. Is that when you are in puppy love, the main thing you think of is how could I get so lucky? And then when you are happily married, you think even more, how could I get so lucky? Because it's true. Sorry, there was a red-tailed hawk who just tried to take a little bird right off my grass right out there. I'll show you at the end of the video what my view is like. It's very fascinating. ADD, man. Anyways, not like me to fall head over heels. Again, constantly going back to who is she and how does she act. Catch These Fists. This is my least favorite song on the album, and I understand that it's most people's favorite because to me this feels like it's the A&R man says I don't hear a single. It's a little too much like, okay, we need a chaise longue style song. I don't know, man down, level up. It's okay. It's not bad. But to me, it feels regressive because I'm into the album as it is. I don't feel like I need to call back to their older style. And, you know, Ketamine also. I do like it describing the feeling of being a woman and men hitting on you in a sort of like, what do I got to lose thing? So this always happens late at night. Some guy says I'm his type. I just threw up my mouth when he tried to ask me out. Yeah, don't approach me. I just want to dance with my friends. So I like that. I imagine as a woman, life is just a never-ending cavalcade of men saying, "Oh, you just gotta play the odds, man. You ask 1,000 chicks to sleep with you, one says yes, then you're in the black, my man. You made it, man. You know." Yeah. Not good advice. Davina McCall, nice pulsing guitars. This might be my favorite sort of song musically here, this kind of swinging guitar slide. Maybe it's a little more strokesy like. It's just nice though, you know? And I guess Davina McCall is the name of someone from a TV show called Big Brother, which I've never watched, but I understand is quite popular in England. You know, they're just not afraid to be goofy. I'll be your Shakira whenever, wherever, you know, I'll come sailing through the stormy weather. Oh, it's that kind of love. This lyric is corny as hell. And I don't think it's corny as hell because it's not good. I think it's corny as hell because that's what she chose to do. Because love is corny. Jennifer's Body. Again, so I saw there was a song called Jennifer's Body. I saw the album cover. I was like, oh, cool. It's going to be this whole kind of horror thing. No, it's just called Jennifer's Body because Megan Fox is hot and whoever she's with is hot, right? You're giving Jennifer's Body. I go to sleep just so I could dream of you. Can't you see I'm obsessed with you? Want a man, I'll pretend for you. What's a guy like me to do? A fair amount of sort of gender bending on here, which is great. Why not? Monchu, that's the name for snow peas in French. That's the fun of it. We know a fjord, but it's also a play on the fact that Monchu is man get out. So it's French, which means eat everything, because you can just eat the whole snap pea. I don't know. I don't know why the French decided to call snap peas or snow peas eat it all as opposed to something else. There's plenty of stuff that you eat it all, right? But whatever. Um, the French word for coconut is get the thing and take the thing off, and then like get a hammer and like, well, first you got to drain the thing, and then you got to crack the thing open, and then you got to somehow apply the inside flesh from the shell. Anyways, get up forever. Hey, now that's a hook right there. Get up forever. When she found Trevor. You think I'm pretty? You think I'm pretty cool? You want to fuck me? I know most people do. Take this packet, you read it, it says, Monchu. I gave you magic beans, I hope you're going to get out soon. I really hope you're going to get out soon. Get lost forever. I like it. I think, so, maybe this is about the fear that happens with puppy love, with smart people who are in puppy love, where like, this is not real, this is not going to work, this always ends in tears, I'm just going to hurt somebody, I'm just going to get hurt, we need to end this is too intense, I can't possibly take this. That happens a lot. Pawn song, kind of Cars-ish, synth and simple rock stuff. Okay, great bass work on here as well. I finally found God when she made you. She was making art. You're so cool. You're so smart. Very Taylor Swifty. You're so cool. You're so sweet even when you're sour. I think about you every minute, every hour. I don't know. I'm just happy because we want artists to be honest, right? We want artists to be honest. So if you are honestly in love and that's the only thing you're thinking about, make an album about that. I feel the honesty in it. That's what I feel. I feel, as much as I love Wheeeet Leeeehg's first album, like, they are being cool, They're trying to be cool. Oh, we're from the Isle of Wheeeet, Oh, no one comes from there. The Who played there a long time ago, and we're two ladies. Ooh, you've seen one lady, but now you've seen two, and we're going to do these cool songs with names like Chaise Longue, and you're not going to, right? What accent is that? I know it's Isle of Wight. You can comment if you want. When I was a kid, and I saw, I think it was Hendrix. Hendrix played there once. And I read about him playing at a festival. I was like, oh, Hendrix played at a festival in the Isle of Wheeeet. But stop being cool. Coolness is good for one album. It's not good for two. Next song's called Pokemon. Kind of a Spandau Ballet style song. When you're Spandau Fandau like me. I say I love you casually. More love. This song is the song that would play during a movie of a sweet love montage. When they have like montages of couples falling in love. I'll be your demon headmaster. You got to choose me. Yeah, I'll be your Pokemon. True story. My wife and I play Pokemon together every day. That's one of the things we do. That's a great... Pokemon Go is one of the great things you could do as a couple because it gets you out of the house. It gives you something to do while you're talking. It's like a little bit of fun, and it's like a thing that's better when you have someone to do it with. So anyways, if I'm going to do a self-help book for relationships. Then we get to pillow talk. Now this is good because the other part about puppy love is it's also really horny, right? Because that's the whole hormones and everything is really sexy. That's like the super sexy time. That's like whatever. 17 times a week. We gotta get it on, And this makes sense, but this is a musician who's like maybe not with him all the time. Every night I kiss my pillow, every night I fuck my pillow. Great. Awesome. Like very sexy, very dirty, rumbling bass, drums. It's some real sexy music. It feels, but in the context of all this puppy love, it's not like, a lot of sexy music, but because female sexuality is so taboo, a lot of female music about sexuality is sort of like, I can have casual sex just like men do, and I will, why am I doing so many voices today? I will objectify you, and you can objectify me. No, this is not that. This is just like that kind of puppy love sex here. Just Take Me Shopping, Buy Me a Rabbit. Talking about sex toys here. Um, the way that she sings, You're Kinda Cute Though, to me it's like one word. You kinda cute though. Ah, yes. It's it sounds like a tribe, like a tribe in the Amazon. The Kandakuto, right? I don't know. It's not racist, is it? I don't think so. I'm just commenting how a lot of languages in South America have sounds that I have a hard time parsing out. I think I'm good. Tell me in the comments. Next song is called Don't Speak. More kind of My Bloody Valentine. So My Bloody Valentine would do this trick with a whammy bar where they'd play a chord and they pull the whole chord down to the whammy bar. And they do that a lot on this album, especially here. I don't like this song though because I am a French teacher. And I don't like them being proud of not speaking other languages. 11:21, a little more spacey, bass-led, slow drums behind everything. It's not like the birds will fall from the sky when I'm not with you, but it feels like they might. The album ends with You and Me at Home, drums to start, just bass and the snare. More of that My Bloody Valentine guitar whammy, nice catchy chorus. You and me at home again. And what I love is that the album is all about puppy love, but it ends with a more mature love. Because the idea of home is like whoever this person is that she's found, they found a home. And she's on tour and she just wants to be home again. We're now puppy love doesn't have a home. Right? That's part of what makes puppy love puppy love. Puppy love is everywhere. Everywhere you go, all you think about. That's it. But home, we're now maybe entering a more mature phase where you're figuring out what are you going to have for dinner. Are you going to rewatch the whole Alien series, getting ready for the new Noah Hawley Alien show on Hulu? Maybe, but I've seen them like 20 times, and you've only seen them once, so it might take us a while because I'll have to sort of like tell you what I like about it. But I don't know then, because the show actually doesn't look that good, even though it's by the guy who did Fargo. So I don't know. What should we talk? Oh shit! Now the baby just woke up. All right, well you go take care of the baby. I'll wait here. I'll wait till you get back. Okay, you got back. Yeah. No, we'll just. Abbott Elementary? All right, cool. Yeah, we'll just watch that. And then you're asleep before the credits start. That sounds like that's not the same thing, but that's the same thing. Like that's the same love that 7 years ago was completely infatuated. So anyways, I appreciate this album. It is a mature album about puppy love. Fuck, man, that's a really cool thing to say, and I only thought of it right now. All right. Well, anyways, I got to go off to the farmer's market. So until next time, there's the camera.